This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today we are talking the just now released World of Warcraft Dragonflight patch 10.0.7. We are talking the Black Dragonflight and their rather unfortunately missing aspect. And we are talking the two main contenders to fill that void, Daddy Sabellion and Twink Wrathion. And look, you spent the whole first couple of weeks of Dragonflight grinding in the Obsidian Hold for those Black Dragon Scale customization, to support your chosen candidate and help him in his bid to become leader because you care about the future of the flight so much, and so do I. And so the important question is, as 10.07 just chucks a load of new and very important story at us, specifically about the Black Dragonflight, the toxic legacy of their progenitor NEltharian, and their half-brothers and sisters, the Wrathion, laying the narrative foundations for 10.1, which is where all of this will be resolved once and for all. Who is set to become the new Black Dragon aspect in Embers of NEltharian? Sabellion or Wrathion? Ebyssian, of course. Yes, that's right, completely out of nowhere in a way that no one could have predicted, because we definitely haven't been saying it since before the expansion even began. With the 10.07 campaign quests on the Forbidden Reach, it now looks pretty certain that in fact Ebyssian, aka Ebonhorn, will in fact take up the mantle of leader and be the aspect of the Earth going forward. Thank goodness, because we need an aspect of the Earth, because we haven't got one currently. So in this video, we're going to look at exactly how the quests and that incredible cutscene between Ebyssian and Scale Commander Emberthal lays the groundwork for all of this. Which means I guess it's going to be kind of a cinematic analysis, kind of a lore video. So if you are interested in learning exactly why Ebonhorn is the correct choice for aspect of the Black Dragonflight, and why the new patch story proves it in the most beautiful way, then join us as we ask, why are Ebyssian and the Wrathion a perfect match? Okay, go. So just a tiny bit of a history lesson to get us all up to speed with how we got here in the first place. When NEltharian fell to corruption over 10 millennia ago, betraying the other aspects in the War of the Ancients and becoming Deathwing in the process, he tore a schism in the unity and power of the aspects that lingers to this day, both in terms of their Titan-bestowed aspect power, which they had to all but give up to defeat him in Cataclysm, but also in their relationship to each other. Quite simply, the Friendship is Magic gang haven't been so magic or friendly since the betrayal. And in Dragonflight, we have been following their attempts to fix both of those problems, restoring the Oathstones to regain their aspect powers, and in their continuing process of coming to terms with the more social problems that they've got going on. And all of that is played out in microcosm with the Black Dragonflight itself. Left scattered and rudderless and basically pariahs for a few millennia, the return to their old home has prompted a move by two of the last remaining members of the flight to both make a bid for the leadership. The old grizzled Sabellion, son and right-hand man of Deathwing, who followed him to Draenor and stayed there with his brood even after it got smashed into the Outland, working with players in Burning Crusade quests in the Blade's Edge Mountains. He is strong, he is forceful, a brilliant leader and tactician, is smoking hot, but does kind of come with baggage in that he was on Deathwing's side when he was doing all of that evil Deathwing stuff, which isn't great PR, and also the vague suspicion that there might just be the slight danger of lingering old god corruption coming back to cause trouble at like any moment. And then there's Wrathion, who is literally like 12 years old, but has a pretty good resume too, having been supposedly the first Black Dragon born free of corruption since all that awkward stuff, and then taking it upon himself to single-handedly hunt down and kill the remaining Black Dragons to cleanse the bloodline. He is also almost entirely responsible for allowing us to resist N'Zoth's corruption and defeat him in BFA, so you know, he's got very little to prove ability-wise, and also he is smoking hot. Unfortunately, he also has some baggage, like that time he tried to start a war between the Horde and Alliance, specifically to wipe one of them out completely, which led to him releasing Garrosh from Super Prison and sending him to AU Draenor, where not only did we have to play Warlords of Draenor for 2 years, curse you Wrathion, but also it is arguable that he is therefore responsible for alternate Gul'dan bringing the whole Legion to Azeroth in Legion, and basically there's a lot of innocent blood on this guy's hands. Also, he has a weird habit of getting smacked in the face. Like, it's not a major problem by itself, it's just weird how it keeps happening, you know? In Dragonflight, the rivalry between the cynical old war criminal and the young rebellious quippy war criminal has been really fun. Entertaining bants galore between these two mass murderers, and despite you being asked explicitly to take a side in the Obsidian Hold dailies, it is quite clear to anyone paying attention that neither is being portrayed as ideally suited to ushering in a new future for the flight. Especially when you factor in the Drakthir, the Black Dragon's brothers and sisters from a different mother, Adamanthia to be precise, who are also struggling to come to terms with their place in Neltharian's atrocities and how their path forward should progress. Again, there are two different sides in this one. Emberthal and the playable Drakthir, who are struggling with the associated guilt and confusion of being Neltharian's kids, and the Sundered Flame, who seem more intent on embracing Deathwing's legacy and claiming it as their own. Now, 10.0.7 starts to bring closure to all of these storylines, which are set to be tied up properly in 10.1, and there is one common thread that brings them all together: Ebyssian. Ebyssian was a surprise black dragon who we encountered living among the HIgmountain Dragon in Legion. He was purified in the egg by the Hammer of Huln HIgmountain and remained among the tribes his entire life, advising each successive chief in turn, which is obviously a very nice thing to do, but it should probably be pointed out that Ebyssian also feared leaving the safety of Highmountain because he felt he was especially susceptible to old god corruption if he did. A fear that later proved to be pretty accurate when we twice see him go on day trips to Kalimdor and almost fall to Dark Whispers, a danger that apparently isn't so much a danger anymore since Wrathion helped us to defeat N'Zoth. All this means Ebyssian is unburdened with the baggage that haunts Daddy and Twink, having hardly ever mass murdered anyone at all, and so to many players represents a clean slate as a candidate for aspect, which is why so many of us totally backed him from the very start of Dragonflight, even though he didn't give us any dragon riding customizations or sick transmogs or cloak wardrobes or anything. But there was plenty of criticism of the idea from the community too, with many arguing that, okay, he hadn't started any wars, but that's because he hadn't really done much of anything. I mean, say what you like about Sabellion and Wrathers, but at least they are proactive. At least they are making stuff happen. At least they seem to care. Even when they are at each other's throats in the Waking Shores, they still manage to save the Black Dragon eggs and secure a future for the flight. And this is a fair point. Ebyssian hasn't even applied for the job. Why this insistence from idiots like me that he should get it? It's a criticism which is actually echoed in-game by Scale Commander Emberthal in the Forbidden Reach questing. And I think it's time to talk about this incredible cutscene and the quests leading up to it, because in my opinion, they make the best case possible as to why Emberthal is the moose cow we need, and in fact, why he is certainly destined to take the role in 10.1. When 10.0.7 opened up this week, there came with it a whole campaign questline that wasn't tested on the PTR, yay Blizz, which focused around Ebyssian and Emberthal getting a foothold in the old home/jail of the Drakthir, hoping to find out some secrets of the past, which they were well on their way to doing, discovering sending stones and messages from Adamanthia to Neltharian, revealing how this mother of the Drakthir helped create them and then put them on ice, and then got put on ice herself when she refused to send them to Aberrus on Neltharian command. Side note, there is a data mined evoker only 10.1 quest that furthers this story, and which is speculated by many to maybe be how Drakthir might unlock a third playable evoker spec. Before Sarkareth swoops in with a Sundered Flame, kills all our buddies, and then swoops off again. We run with Emberthal through the beautifully named Dragon Skull Island, which is where Neltharian used to train the Drakthir and basically brainwash and condition them Big Brother style with constant loudspeaker messages telling them how baller and brutal they are and how much they love Neltharian and they should do what he says, before a face-off with Sarkareth and the Sundered Flame in the end, when Emberthal refuses to fight him, reasoning that there are too many Sundered Flame between her and him that she would have to kill, and she doesn't want to slaughter any more of her brothers and sisters, allowing Sarkareth to get away and start causing trouble in 10.1 and the Aberrus raid. And then comes the cutscene.
If you were to follow him, what would you do?
Extinguish my enemy, as I was trained to.
By Neltharian. But this time, the enemy is one of your own.
Which, first of all, I just want to appreciate on a technical level, because we all know that the real-time in-game cutscenes where your character can pop up in whatever clown suit they're wearing are getting better and better. And this one isn't exactly action-packed, it's just two people talking, but you show me stills of this, honestly, I have real difficulty telling it apart from one of the fully pre-rendered big-budget in-game cinematics, especially any shot where Emberthal is the focus. It is that good. And it's in this cutscene where we really see Emberthal struggle openly with everything that she's dealing with some friendly therapist-type nudges from Ebyssian, who almost questions whether she has it in her to fight her own kind.
As are the Dragthir that follow him. Soldiers who, like you, were conditioned to claim victory at any cost.
How dare you presume to know us? You, who hid among mortals while other dragons fought and died to protect our world.
And the thing I love most about this entire cutscene are Emberthal's reactions to Ebyssian's prompts, because they just feel so real. She turns and basically lashes out at Ebonhorn here, once again chiding him for hiding away, doing nothing for all of these years, being angry that he's sticking his big, beautiful cow nose into business which is intensely personal to her. But of course, that reaction is coming from a place of frustration with herself. We talked already about how she feels that the sins of her fathers, if you like, are something that she and the other Dragthir need to get away from. And here, she's doubting if she's on the right path. They've just walked through the old Dragthir training grounds where they were sculpted into unthinking killing machines. With that fresh in her mind, there must be a part of her that recognizes that the old Emberthal would happily have cut through Sarkareth's followers to stop him. The old Emberthal would never have let her compassion for them stop her in achieving her aim. And she knows that Sarkareth himself would never show such weakness. Indeed, he didn't think twice about killing her troops just moments ago. So when she accuses Emberthal of being a coward, not for the first time, she is projecting a little bit here. And you know, I'd like you, just for a moment, to imagine if it was Sabellion or Wrathion standing in his place here. How do you think they would react to a Dragthir lashing out in her own frustration? I mean, actually, we don't have to imagine, really, because we've seen them do it with each other enough. They would respond in kind. They'd fire back, and the entire thing would just descend into a fight, just like it usually does when Sabellion and Wrathion interact in-game. But Ebyssian here does the exact opposite.
You're right. I was content to be simply Ebonhorn, and HIgmountain was my home. I should have done more.
Why didn't you?
He admits she's right.
Hey guys, great news! The thing that has been eating away at me for ages has finally been resolved. I am so pleased to say that I have finally decided on a header image for our website. What website, you say? Why, the one built and sponsored by Squarespace, you silly nilly. You know, Squarespace makes building and maintaining and changing a website an absolute breeze. With an all-in-one platform, no plugins, no updates, no patches ever, and 24/7, 365-day support, they're always there to help me when I inevitably firebomb our code to oblivion. But check this out! I recently discovered a feature, which has probably been there for ages, which makes Squarespace even more helpful: analytics. Now, you know I'm a YouTube person, a real wonk for data, and despite our publishing schedule being a tad irregular, I do spend a good deal of time combing through view counts, watch times, and like-dislike ratios. Gotta love a good ratio. So how cool that I can do the same thing for our website! Apparently about 75% of you are on desktop, with 25-ish tuning in on mobile, and I'm not even going to talk about the weird sliver of you tablet people. Windows and Chrome rule as usual, US visitors top the charts, and in the last year, we've had one whole visitor from Greenland. Listen, who are you? I have to know more. While I'm not going to share much else behind the scenes, trade secrets and all that, I bet you could do some very exciting data digging on your own site. Wanna try? Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Taliesin Evitel and use code Taliesin Evitel to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/Taliesin Evitel. Hey, Greenland? Call me.
And here's the thing, she kind of is right, even if she is projecting through anger. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, no, hang on, Tali, she's not right though, is she? You were just telling me how the reason Ebyssian didn't leave HIgmountain was because he'd get corrupted. And that's true too. I've seen people call his lines here, where he agrees with her, a plot hole or a retcon as a result. But the fact is, two things can be true at once. And just as Emberthal is annoyed with herself for essentially doing the right thing, not killing Sarkareth's men, wondering if she could have done more to stop him, so Ebyssian reveals here that even if his reasons for staying in HIgmountain were legit, and we've seen proof that they were, he has the same doubts as the Scale Commander. Could he have done more to find a way to safely leave? Could he have fought harder against the corruption? Could he have actually helped the Black Dragonflight instead of just waiting it out? The reason Ebyssian can bond with the Drakthir in a way that Wrathion and Sabellion can't is because he has the most in common with them. As this cutscene makes clear, they have both in their lifetimes had to get used to the fact that they are among the last of their kind, thanks to NEltharian. They both have survivor's guilt about that in a way that Sabellion, Wrathion, and Sarkareth don't. And shame is important here too.
Why didn't you?
Because I too am NEltharian's offspring, and it brought me only shame. I came here to face that, and found you.
You must be disappointed.
Sabellion, Wrathion, and Sarkareth all view their role as to inherit NEltharian's legacy in some way. There's an entitlement. Sabellion believes that he's the true heir to the flight because he is the old boss's closest relative. It doesn't matter that NEltharian turned into a monster, he is the rightful leader through inheritance in his view. Wrathion feels entitled to become leader because he feels like he's earned it. He has done nothing but try to get the flight back together since he was born, and it doesn't matter to him that he's committed atrocities to do so. And Sarkareth feels entitled to the power that NEltharian wielded and discovered because it was the Drakthir that he exploited to create much of that power. By rights, it belongs to him in his opinion. But Emberthal and Ebyssian aren't interested in inheriting anything from NEltharian's legacy. They are too deeply ashamed of their connection to him and want to move on and down a completely different path. I think the performances that Dave B. Mitchell and Layla Berzins give here are both brilliant, like genuinely really good, but the delivery of this line is something else in my opinion.
Why didn't you?
I love this moment so much. Ebyssian has succeeded here by being understanding and genuinely understanding. It's not an act. He's taken the edge off of Emberthal's knee-jerk anger, essentially got her on side, and the way that Layla portrays that in this line, while still just having the last pangs of anger still there in her voice, is exquisite. It's so real. I just love it. My judgment, that's really good acting, that is. And like Ebyssian says, he came to the Dragon Isles to try and reckon with that shame and found Emberthal.
I came here to face that, and found you.
You must be disappointed.
That line is one of the best in any WoW cinematics ever, by the way. As I understand it, this script is a collaboration between Terran Gregory and Christy Golden. So, you know, the big guns were out for this cutscene, and it shows some of these lines are electrifying.
No. Just now, you defied his voice inside you. Chose compassion over violence. Our family does not have to live in his shadow.
What Ebyssian is saying here is that he has seen in Emberthal someone who has conquered in themselves the same doubts that he has in him. He sees her resist a destructive voice inside of her, something he has spent thousands of years afraid he wouldn't be able to do. He sees someone fighting to move out from under the shadow of their father, and it gives him hope. It makes him realize that the Drakthir truly are part of the Black Dragonflight. And you suddenly realize there's a reason that Scale Commander Emberthal has black scales. When, you know, they could have been of any color. It's so that when these scenes happened in the story, it was easier to see that connection visually. family. Yes, the Dracthyr are made up of power from all the flights, but it was black dragons who created them. It is black dragons who now, in the shape of Ebonhorn, are welcoming them into their family. And whereas NEltharian taught them that their strength came from their ruthlessness and obedience, here Ebyssian is telling them, actually, it comes from their compassion and sense of self. When Emberthal almost timidly asks him,
"Family. When I awoke, they were gone. All of them. For the first time, I was alone. And it terrified me. And when Sarkareth killed the others,
Emberthal. He will face justice for what he has done.
Will you help me, Ebyssian?"
She is not asking as one warrior to another, one enemy of Sarkareth to another. She is asking as kin, putting herself in a position of vulnerability in a way she almost certainly never has before.
We will help each other.
And this is why Ebyssian is shown to be the real choice for aspect of the Black Dragonflight. He may not be the most powerful or the most driven, but he is the only one who has in him the qualities that the flight needs to repair its wounds. The wisdom to see his own failures and shortcomings and understand that the flight's strength comes from the sum of its parts, and making others realize that too. When 10.1 comes along, don't be surprised if he takes a similar approach with Wrathion and Sabellion to heal that rift. But for now, the Black Dragonflight is looking towards a bright future, with the Dracthyr a major part in shaping it, and Ebyssian the clear and obvious choice to lead. What a brilliant questline, what an incredible cutscene, what a cool patch narratively, and seriously, what a great flow the story beats have in this expansion so far, undoubtedly because of these extra patches that we're getting. I told you it was going to be a good expansion, didn't I? But what do you think? Am I reading the events of that cutscene and those quests right, or am I totally and utterly wrong, as usual? And here's why. I want to know why, so let us know in the comments below. Is Ebyssian getting set up to be leader? Are the Dracthyr officially becoming part of the flight? Will Wrathion and Sabellion accept the Moose Cow? And if they don't, does Ebyssian really want it enough to convince them otherwise? Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all of our work happen. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Christy Gregory. No, my name is Taliesin from me and Evitel and everyone else who lives in our house. There's loads of them. Cheerio!